or that thing you really want, or the latest phone that comes out, or the latest car, or the latest shoes or dress. We all want to get fancy at times. Are you wondering how you could improve your savings habit and further your ability in reaching your financial goals? Then you've clicked on the right video, because in this video I'll be sharing 5 tips or habits that could help improve your financial situation. I will be making a video series on these 5 suggestions so that I could further explain and show you exactly how I apply these things in my own life. So in order not to miss the next videos that will be coming soon, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, turn on the bell notification so that you won't miss those videos. I believe you have a reason why you want to save money, like buying a car, saving for the future, saving an emergency fund, saving for your child. These are all valid reasons why we all want to save. But sometimes we find ourselves hitting those roadblocks that are holding us back from reaching our goals. Now, with these 5 tips I'm going to share with you, I hope this will improve your situation and help you to get on track and reach those goals. So let's get to them. Before we go on, please do not forget to hit the like button. Number 1, we have to set a budget. I know you've heard this several times. I know you've been told make a budget every month and stick to it and all that. But I understand how difficult this could be. Some people don't even know how to make a budget, I have to be honest. I remember when I first started in this journey, it was difficult sticking to a budget, knowing how much I spend every month or every week. And without a budget, I gotta be honest with you, it's gonna be very difficult to reach that goal of you saving for something. Say you wanna save an emergency fund. Now, the important thing about a budget is that it helps to keep you on track and it helps to remind you of where your money is going, especially when your situation would change. You know, there are times where you keep a subscription for a purpose and maybe after a while you've totally forgotten about it. By having a budget, you're able to allocate your money in the right places and put them to the right use. Because if you have an expense that is not being used for the purpose you intend, you can easily notice it and take it off. And that's one of the key things of having a budget. Also, it keeps your spending in balance because you wouldn't overspend what you don't have and thereby incurring excess fees on your cards or your account. So the key thing here is I recommend that you budget every month. Obviously, your situation would change month to month and you would definitely need to adjust your budget as well. And this is the thing about a budget, because a lot of people would think that by setting a budget, you just have to let it sit and that's it. But that's not the case, because every month your situation will change, your expenses will change, and you need to adjust as necessary to meet the demands of that month. Number two, gotta plan for emergencies. We all been told to have an emergency fund and why it's important to save for the emergency or the rainy days. The key thing here is that without an emergency fund, there's a chance you will always use the money you are saving towards a goal for things that come up in your life. We all know life happens. You know, if you have a car, you might end up, picking up a nail. If you have a house, you might end up having to replace something in the house that is important. So the key thing is plan for those things, because you don't know when they're going to happen, but you just have to plan. Now, $1,000 of emergency fund for everybody doesn't really make sense to me, because everyone's situation is going to be different. Sometimes you would have some people that have more things in their life or more people they are responsible for. So you got to allocate a reasonable amount of money that will be able to cover certain expenses that are considered emergencies. So if you have a car, you got to be able to plan for situations where you might need to change your tire. Hopefully you're not going to have to change 4 tires in one time, but you have to plan a certain amount to changing a car tire. Occasionally that would happen. If you have a house, then you got to plan for changing your AC unit, or maybe having to replace or fix something that has to do with the AC or the roof. Things that are important that you need to get fixed right away. Your refrigerator in the house, things like that. And that's why it's always good to have a home warranty. Depending on the size of your home, if you think you need a home warranty, then have it. But that's another topic for another day. So the key thing here is look at your situation, look at how much you could incur in emergencies towards your asset or the things you have. Then you need to plan for those things when they break down. Here's the thing also, sometimes you might not need to have $1,000 emergency fund. You might need to have less, or you might need to have more. So you have to be flexible and be critical about the situation you're in, and make sure you plan for unforeseen events. Just before I leave this topic, I'm going to give you the definition of an emergency real quick. It is an unforeseen combination of circumstances circumstances or the resulting state that calls for immediate action. So unforeseen circumstances is the key thing that I want you to keep in mind here. It's an unforeseen event. You gotta plan for it. It's gonna happen someday, but you just don't know when. Number 3, you have to have an automated savings transfer. If you are planning to reach a certain goal or you're saving towards a certain amount of money, then you have to make it automatic. All right, because the key thing here is this: you don't want to forget. We know how busy we could get in a month and how we could just get in the normal day-to-day grind and we forget about our bills. But you don't want to forget your bills because you know you're going to incur a late fee. So in order not to forget, what do? You make automated withdrawals to pay your bills. Now, in a situation where you're saving towards a goal, we know we are responsible for that money and we know that we're not going to incur any bills. So there's a chance we get lax and relax and think, well, I will just remember to make the transfer. The issue with this is that we would occasionally forget. There are times we would actually not even plan to make that transfer, and then we overspend, and then we don't have the money to meet that goal for that month. Let's say you want to save $100 every month. Then the key thing here is make sure it's automated and make sure it's withdrawn from your account as soon as you're paid, so that that amount of money is taken to the side and you know that your long-term goal is not affected. Because if you think you're going to make the transfer every month, I want to assure you that you will forget at times, and there will be times where you would actually spend more than you have, and you won't have that money to be set aside for your long-term goals that are maybe very important to you. Like you want to save for a down payment, or you want to save for a down payment for the car, you want to save for your house, or you want to save for your child's future, you want to save an emergency fund. These things require you to be very dedicated and consistent. So if you're not consistent, you miss 1 or 2 times a month, and trust me, you have missed your goal for the year, and you have to wait until the following year, and it just makes it longer. You spend more time, and sometimes you end up just giving up on the process. So make this an automatic transfer from your checking account to your savings account every month so that you don't forget. Number 4, you want to save in a different account. I've spoken to a lot of people that would occasionally say, well, they're saving the money in their checking account and they make sure that they don't touch that money. Well, that doesn't make sense to me, because your checking account does not give you any form of good interest rate. And secondly, you stand a chance of actually overspending. Then thirdly, you actually stand a chance of being an online fraud victim or even debit card fraud victim. Because the issue is that when you have this money set in your checking account, let's start with overspending. If you have the money, there's a chance you want to spend, you see something you like, you're like, oh, I got to spend, or I got to buy this thing. Then you spend that money that you're saving towards a certain goal, and you think, well, I'm going to make it up next time. That's the psychology that is behind this. You want to make it up next time that you never get to. The second thing is, for the fraud, if your debit card information gets into the wrong hands, and if it's a family member, that happens. It occasionally happens where a family member uses your card to get something and they promise to give you back and they never give you back. You got to plan for those things as well. And that is why you want to set this money you're saving towards a goal in a separate account that is not easily accessible to you. For me, I do have an account where I put in some of my money and it's not really accessible. When I say not really, I could access it online, but when it comes to using it to buy things, I don't have the card to it. I don't have the access to the card, because I know myself and I understand that sometimes you find yourself in desperate situations where you think, oh, I'm just going to do it one time and it's not going to happen again. But trust me, once there's one time, there's going to be 2 times and there's 3 times, and that goes on like that. So key thing here is make that transfer from your checking to a separate account that is never going to be touched until you meet the goal you set it out for. All right, number 5 is to guard against temptation. All right, we all know how tempted we could get, especially when you find that thing you really like, or that thing you really want, or the latest phone that comes out, or the latest car, or the latest shoes or dress. We all want to get fancy at times. But the truth is this, right? When it comes to reaching your goals do not care about those things. You have to remember that if your goal is very important to you, you have to be able to deal with temptations, because when it comes to money, you would definitely get tempted to spend it. Now, as you get close to reaching your goal, let's assume you want to save $1,000. And as you get close to that $1,000 range, now you have $600, $700, or maybe $800 saved up, and you just need 2 more months to meet your goal. That's when the latest iPhone comes out. Now you're like, oh, my friends are getting the iPhone, then let me go spend this money that I have on the iPhone, and maybe I'm going to make it up again next time. The truth is this: once that money is spent, you've set yourself back a whole 8 months or so of saving towards that goal. And then you have to start all over again. So this is why it's very important that you guard against temptation. Know that they will come up, know that they would be around you every time, but you just need to grow up and man up or woman up in this case to face your temptations, because your temptations will be in your face. If you like clothes, if you like shoes, if you like phones, if you like gadgets, those things would come around you and you'll be tempted to get them. But do not fall for those temptations, because if you do, you set yourself back a lot and you might end up giving up on the process. So in conclusion, I know how difficult it could be to save or to work towards a goal, especially when it comes to finances. And that's why it's very important that you never give up on the process. It's very important that you stay consistent in this, because if you're not consistent, you will not get to reach your goals. And these goals can be very important, like saving for an emergency fund. If you never have an emergency fund, you will always find yourself going to use things like a credit card to meet up for emergencies. And that's not the purpose of an emergency fund or even a credit card. You want to plan for your emergencies so that when they come up, you have that money set aside and you're able to pull from that money to meet that purpose that is set up for. If you're saving towards a goal of, maybe putting down a down payment on a house, you want to make sure that you're working towards this, because in the long run, it's probably going to cost you more, depending on where you live, to keep renting. And most importantly, I want to encourage you not to give up on your process. Stay consistent. Keep your goals where you can see them. If you have a whiteboard like I do, use it to that purpose. All right, write your goals on it and see it on a daily basis so that you are reminded of where you want to be. And that would help you to be able to stick to these 5 tips that I shared with you. In addition, I will be making a video for each of these 5 tips that I've just shared, and I'll go into details of how you can do it and apply it in your own life. So I urge you again to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, leave your comments below, turn on the notification bell, and I hope to see you in my next video. Again, tell me what you think in the comments below. I would like to know your thoughts. Let me know your challenges as well, and we can all share how we can improve together. Hope to see you in my next video.